So picture this. You are standing in the middle of a gathering.
Okay. Very fun.
Right. So maybe it's like a corporate networking mixer in one of those really sterile hotel ballrooms. Or perhaps it's just a crowded dinner party at a friend's place.
Sure, yeah.
You have a slightly lukewarm, sweating beverage in your hand. You are trying your best to look approachable, but also, busy.
Classic party stance.
Exactly. And then it happens. A stranger walks up to you, offers a polite handshake, smiles, and drops the universally dreaded conversation starter.
Oh, no. I know it's coming.
Yep. So tell me about yourself.
Ugh. It is just the ultimate social deer in the headlights moment, isn't it?
Total instant panic. I mean, the moment those words leave their mouth, you suddenly forget your job.
Right.
You forget your hobbies. Honestly, you possibly even forget your own middle name.
Your brain just completely short circuits.
It really does. Your mind starts frantically flipping through this mental Rolodex, just trying to figure out what this person actually wants from you.
Because it's such a terrifyingly open-ended demand.
Exactly. Are you supposed to give them your professional resume? Or the traumatic backstory of your childhood?
A list of your top 10 favorite movies. Who knows?
We spend our entire lives occupying our own identities, yet we constantly feel entirely unprepared to summarize them.
Yeah, we usually end up swinging wildly between oversharing deeply personal information or, well, delivering this painfully dry, robotic summary of our current job title.
Hi, I am a B2B logistics coordinator.
And the conversation just dies right there.
Right. Well, today we are going to fix that anxiety. Because for today's deep dive, we are dissecting a fascinating find that, honestly, on the surface, seems almost absurdly simple.
It really is simple, yeah.
We are looking at a transcript from a YouTube video created by an account called Mr. English Channel.
Which is an interesting place to look for social psychology.
It is, because this is a video specifically designed for absolute beginners who are just starting to learn the English language.
Right, so it is entirely stripped of nuance. There's no complex vocabulary, no industry jargon.
Right.
It is communication reduced to its rawest, most fundamental elements.
Exactly. So we are looking at this transcribed conversation between two characters, Paul and Emily, and they are just demonstrating basic self-introductions.
Sounds super basic.
It does, but our mission today is not to review beginner vocabulary. Our mission is to mine this conversation to extract the underlying psychological framework of human connection.
I love that.
We are going to build the perfect, engaging self-introduction that you can deploy in absolutely any situation.
You know, it makes sense. When you strip a conversation of all of the clever banter and sophisticated vocabulary we usually hide behind as adults, you expose the structural mechanics of how strangers actually build rapport.
It's like looking at the blueprint of a house.
Yeah, or walking through a construction site before the drywall goes up.
Exactly. Because the language is so basic, we can actually see the load-bearing beams of a good conversation. We see exactly what holds the interaction together.
And Paul and Emily start building this architecture by executing a really fascinating cognitive trick right out of the gate.
Yeah, they move incredibly fast from massive abstract concepts to highly concrete sensory details.
They establish a physical environment almost immediately,
Right.
which solves a major problem in human communication.
So let's look at the blueprint. Paul starts with the absolute biggest picture possible. He says he is 28 years old and he is from Canada.
Okay, very broad.
Emily responds with her macro details. She is 25 and she is from the United States.
But they don't linger there.
No, they don't. Paul instantly zooms into the micro. He specifies that he lives in a small town, that it is very quiet, and that he lives in a small house with a garden.
And Emily counters that by zooming into her own microenvironment.
Right. She lives in a big city. It is incredibly busy and noisy, but she loves it, and she lives in a small but nice apartment.
That pivot from the macrogeography to the microenvironment is just, well, it's a masterclass in managing the listener's cognitive load.
Okay, let's pause on that idea of cognitive load for a second. Let's unpack this.
Sure.
If someone simply asks where you're from, isn't saying Canada or the US doing the job?
Well, technically, yes.
Right. Why burn those precious first few seconds of an introduction talking about the noise level outside your window or the fact that you have a garden? It feels like, I don't know, we're wasting time on the landscaping.
It feels that way until you realize how the human brain actually processes new information.
Okay.
Canada is a massive abstract geopolitical concept. When you hand a stranger abstract data, like a country, or even that complex job title we mentioned.
The B2B logistics coordinator.
Exactly. Their brain has to burn a lot of energy trying to figure out what to do with that information. It does not spark a visual image.
Right.
But a quiet garden, a busy, noisy city street, those tap directly into the picture's superiority effect.
Meaning it is like you are handing them a JPEG instead of a spreadsheet.
That is a perfect way to put it, yeah.
You are bypassing the analytical part of their brain and painting a picture.
Because our brains are remarkably adept at retaining visual and sensory information. And we are notoriously terrible at retaining abstract facts. By providing those sensory adjectives, quiet, noisy, busy, Paul and Emily instantly attach a visceral vibe to the geography.
They give the listener a mental set piece to place them in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Paul is no longer just a data point from a massive northern country. He's the guy standing in a quiet garden.
And Emily becomes the girl in the bustling, loud city apartment. They anchor their identities to a physical space.
You're moving from the abstract where to the concrete how it feels.
Right.
That contrast makes you instantly memorable because you are giving their visual cortex something to actually hold on to.
They're essentially building the stage for the movie of who they are, giving the other person a background to look at.
Precisely.
Okay, so you have successfully built the stage. You've planted the quiet garden or paved the noisy city street.
The stage is set.
But a beautifully designed stage is entirely empty without a cast of characters and a plot.
Right. You need some action.
Which brings us to the next layer of the blueprint, populating that world. And Paul and Emily do this by casting an impressive array of what we can call conversational hooks.
Because an introduction should never be a closed loop.
Right.
You are supposed to be handing the other person tools they can use to keep the interaction alive.
So instead of just reading the grocery list of facts they drop, let's look at the breadth of what they offer here.
Okay, let's look at it.
They don't just stop at their own jobs, with Paul as an English teacher and Emily as an art student.
Right.
They dive into their immediate families. Paul mentions his younger sister, who plays the piano, a mother who writes, and a father who is a doctor.
That's a lot of detail.
It is. And Emily brings up her older brother, a mother who teaches, and a father who works as a restaurant chef.
And of course, they bring in the pets.
Of course. Paul has a happy brown dog named Max, while Emily has a sleepy, elegant cat named Luna.
Honestly, most people would view that as oversharing for a first meeting.
It really does feel like a lot of data all at once. But structurally, laying out this massive variety of siblings, parental careers, and pet temperaments, it feels like setting up a giant buffet for a party guest.
Oh, I like that analogy.
You aren't expecting the stranger to eat every single dish on the table.
Right, that would be insane.
You are just laying out a wide enough spread, hoping that one specific item catches their eye and makes them want to fill their plate.
The buffet analogy is perfect for understanding the mechanics of conversational prompting.
How so?
Think about the heavy lifting required when a stranger just says, "I am an accountant."
Oh, yeah. Rough.
If you know nothing about accounting, the conversation just hits a massive brick wall.
You are forced to desperately interview them about a topic you don't understand.
Exactly. So, numbers, huh?
Yeah.
But look at what happens in the transcript when Emily mentions her father is a chef.
It instantly shifts the burden of the conversation.
Yes. Paul doesn't have to talk about her art studies if he doesn't want to. He grabs the chef hook and asks, does he cook for you at home?
Emily gets to talk about how delicious the food is, Paul gets to express jealousy, and suddenly they're having a genuine, flowing dialogue about food.
Providing specific adjacent details like a sibling's hobby or a parent's unusual job. It turns a monologue into a choose-your-own-adventure game for the listener.
You are giving them permission to steer the conversation toward their own hidden interests.
Exactly. And the pets do something even more fascinating here.
Oh, yeah. The video makes a real point of highlighting the contrast between them.
Right.
Paul is a dog person with an energetic puppy, and Emily is a cat person with a sleepy feline. It introduces this tiny, low-stakes dynamic tension.
It gives them something entirely harmless to playfully debate or compare.
Right.
Discussing a pet's personality is actually a brilliant indirect communication strategy.
Like how so?
Well, when Emily describes Luna as quiet and sleepy, and Paul describes Max as happy and friendly, they are subtly signaling their own temperaments and preferences.
Oh, without having to aggressively declare them.
I get it.
It is infinitely easier to bond over the quirks of a sleepy cat than it is to try and articulate your own complex personal philosophy on life to a total stranger.
Totally. The hooks are escape hatches.
Escape hatches. I like that.
Yeah, you give the other person multiple avenues to take the lead so that neither of you feels that suffocating pressure of carrying the interaction alone.
Right. So we have a sensory environment set up, and we have laid out this extensive buffet of hooks, our jobs, our family's quirks, our pets.
The stage and the cast.
Exactly. And the video also lists their favorite things. They cover a lot of ground really quickly.
Let's hear them.
So Paul loves vegetable pizza, old rock music, and playing soccer. Emily loves pepperoni pizza, adventure books, and animated movies.
Okay. Pretty standard small talk stuff.
But there is a massive pivot right after this list of likes.
Yes.
This brings us to a tactic that feels entirely counterintuitive for building authentic rapport. They start openly sharing what they despise.
Yes. The strategic deployment of the mild dislike.
Paul goes out of his way to explicitly state that he hates the taste of olives.
A strong stance.
That he absolutely cannot stand waiting in long lines. Emily chimes in to say she dislikes very spicy food, and she really hates waking up early.
Now, let's examine the sociology of a networking event or a cocktail party.
Let's do it.
We are culturally conditioned to be relentlessly positive when meeting new people.
Oh, totally. We wear these masks of total agreeability.
Exactly. We smile, we nod, we pretend to love everything.
So why would you spend your precious, limited introductory window complaining about an olive or an alarm clock?
Because relentless positivity actually creates a barrier to intimacy.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Hmm?
If you only list the things you love and you agree with every single statement made, you strip yourself of all defining features.
You become a polished robot.
You become a human LinkedIn profile. There is no texture for the other person to grab onto.
Wow, so you are saying that a little bit of negativity is actually a tool for connection?
Exactly.
Like complaining about the weather, it's a team sport.
That's a great way to think about it. Establishing a mild dislike is a brilliantly safe form of vulnerability.
Safe vulnerability.
When you admit a frustration, you establish a boundary. You prove that you have actual opinions and a genuine personality.
But the key is keeping it harmless, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We aren't talking about launching into a deeply controversial political diatribe within 30 seconds of meeting someone.
No, please don't do that. The word mild is the operative word here. Hating long lines or hating the sound of your alarm clock going off.
Yeah.
These are universally relatable, deeply human annoyances. They do not trigger defensiveness. They do not start arguments.
Right. Nobody is going to fight you on hating the alarm clock.
What they do is send a subconscious signal to the other person. They say, I am a real, flawed human being who gets annoyed by mundane things just like you.
It immediately steps you off the formal pedestal of the perfect professional.
It is the fastest way to break the ice of formality. When Paul says he hates waiting in lines, Emily instantly jumps in and says, does anyone like that? It's so boring.
They immediately align themselves against a common invisible enemy.
Exactly. The long line becomes the villain, and they are suddenly comrades.
Bonding over a shared harmless annoyance operates on a much faster timeline than bonding over a shared joy.
It really does.
It is so true. If I meet someone and they say, I really love sunny days, I will smile and say, me too. And the conversation just flatlines right there.
Again.
But if a stranger leans in and says, I absolutely cannot stand the sound of people chewing ice.
Oh, I hate that sound.
See? If I also hate that sound, we are instantly bonded. We share a secret grievance. It cuts through the small talk like a knife.
Emily actually states this explicitly in the transcript. She notes that sharing what you like and what you don't like shows your personality.
It is a calculated shortcut to authenticity.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take inventory of what we have built so far.
Let's do it.
We have our sensory-rich stages. We have our cast of family members and pets acting as conversational hooks.
Right.
And we have our strategic, vulnerable dislikes to prove we are human.
That is an enormous amount of data.
It is far too much data for any single human interaction.
Oh, completely.
Which brings us to the danger of this entire framework.
The trap.
If you took all these structural beams and dropped them on a stranger at once.
Oh, boy.
If you walked up to someone at a mixer and said, hi, I'm Paul. I live in a quiet garden in Canada. My sister plays piano. My dad is a doctor. I have a brown dog. I like old rock. And I vehemently hate olives.
They would assume you're a maniac and slowly back away toward the exits.
Exactly. You would completely overwhelm their cognitive capacity.
You would be info dumping, which is the exact opposite of an engaging introduction.
The video actually provides a core rule to prevent this disaster.
Right.
It plainly states you don't need to say everything at one time.
Which introduces the final and perhaps most vital skill.
Contextual curation.
Contextual curation.
Oh, okay.
Okay, think of your identity like a massive walk-in wardrobe.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
You own a lot of clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You have thick winter sweaters. You have swimsuits. You have formal tuxedos or gowns.
Mm-hmm. But you do not wear your entire wardrobe at the same time.
Well, I will not.
You look out the window to check the weather, you look at the invitation to check the dress code, and you pick the one outfit that matches the environment.
That makes perfect sense.
Your identity works the exact same way. The context of the room dictates the content of your introduction.
The transcript illustrates this beautifully by contrasting two entirely different environments.
Right.
It points out that if you are sitting in a classroom, the context demands a specific slice of your identity.
You put on your academic outfit.
Exactly. You say your name, where you were from, and your motivation for being there. Like Paul mentioning he enjoys learning new things. That makes sense for the room.
But if you take that exact same script and use it at a Friday night dinner party,
You sound incredibly
it's
rigid
very weird vibe.
because the environment has shifted. The goal of a party is not to justify your educational pursuits. The goal is to spark a social connection.
So as the characters suggest, you pivot.
Right. You say, "Hi, I'm Emily. I love to paint and listen to music." You choose the hobby hook because it aligns with the relaxed social frequency of the room.
You have the entire blueprint of your life in your back pocket, but you only turn the lights on in the specific room they are currently standing in.
I love that. And this completely shifts the paradigm of how we handle introductions. An introduction is not meant to be a comprehensive biography.
It is a highly curated opening move.
And understanding that it's just an opening move, well, it relieves so much of that initial panic we talked about earlier.
The video frames the prompt brilliantly at the very end. It reminds the viewer that tell me about yourself is not a test.
No, it's not.
It is simply an invitation.
The anxiety we feel stems from treating the question like a high-stakes exam.
Yes.
We operate under this delusion that we have to provide a perfectly summarized, chronologically accurate thesis statement of our entire existence in 30 seconds.
Or we somehow fail the interaction.
Right, which is just crazy.
When in reality, an invitation is just someone asking if you want to step onto the dance floor.
Exactly.
You don't have to perform a choreographed routine. You just have to step to the music. The entire goal of your first sentence is solely to prompt the other person to ask a second question.
That is the only metric of success.
Just getting to sentence number 2.
You do not have to carry the entire weight of a new relationship in your opening breath. You just have to unlock the door and leave it slightly ajar.
That is an incredibly freeing realization.
It really is.
So, how do we operationalize Paul and Emily's masterclass the next time we are caught off guard? Let's distill the architecture.
Okay, first, abandon the abstract.
Right.
Do not just hand people geographic data or complex job titles. Move quickly to concrete sensory details.
Paint a picture they can actually see in their mind's eye, whether that is a noisy city street, a quiet garden, or, a chaotic, brightly lit office.
Second, lay out the buffet.
The buffet of hooks.
Cast multiple, varied conversational hooks. Do not force them to interview you about your career. Offer up a hobby. Mention a pet's bizarre personality, or casually drop an interesting detail about a sibling.
Give them a menu of escape hatches so they can choose a topic they actually want to discuss.
Third, employ the tactic of safe vulnerability.
Do not be a human LinkedIn profile.
Exactly. Share a harmless, relatable annoyance. Bond over a mutual hatred of long lines or early alarms to prove that there is a real, unpolished human being behind the pleasantries.
And finally, curate your wardrobe. Read the room.
Yes.
You do not need to unload your entire life story. Pick the 1 or 2 details that fit the specific environment, and remember that tell me about yourself is not a threat. It is just an invitation to start playing catch.
Oh, and as the transcript wisely reminds its beginner audience, remember to smile.
Yes, the smile.
The physical cue of a smile softens the delivery of whatever boundary or hook you choose to deploy. It signals that the invitation is friendly.
So, the next time you are standing at that corporate mixer, clutching your lukewarm beverage, and a stranger shakes your hand and asks you to tell them about yourself,
Take a breath.
you don't need to freeze. You don't need to mentally scroll through your resume. You just need to remember the architectural mechanics we explored today.
Offer a few curated sensory details. Drop a hook, and let the natural momentum of the conversation do the heavy lifting.
Give them the pieces and let them build the next part of the interaction with you. But we do want to leave you with a final thought to mull over on your own. Throughout this deep dive, we have looked at how identity is traditionally constructed using the standard societal pillars, our careers, the cities we live in, and our family structures.
We rely really heavily on those to define our worth to strangers.
They are the default metrics of success and stability. But imagine a scenario where those default metrics are completely banned.
Oh, banned entirely.
Entirely. If you were forced to introduce yourself at a party tonight, without mentioning what you do for a living, without mentioning where you are from, and without mentioning your family, what is left?
That's a really tough question.
If you had to introduce yourself using only your most recent, embarrassingly mundane failure, like spending 5 minutes trying to push a door that clearly said pull,
Oh, we've all done that.
right, or just getting hopelessly lost in your own neighborhood, how would that completely alter the dynamic of the room?
It strips away the ego entirely. It forces you to connect on the basis of shared humanity rather than shared status.
Think about what your most recent minor failure says about you. Because relying on our imperfections rather than our polished resumes might just be the most powerful conversational hook of all.
I love that.
Keep that in your back pocket the next time someone offers a polite handshake and asks you to tell them about yourself.